All right, we are here for our weight training class this evening. If you have a chair with no arms, you're going to want that for tonight, although everything that we're doing you can do in a standing posture as well, so I'll show both. Other than that, we don't need any equipment other than our weights or empty hand if you're just starting out and you just want to test out the movements. If you're joining us on YouTube, go ahead and hit like and subscribe and make sure you ring the bell so you get notified whenever we put up any new videos. Let's get started. So we're going to warm up, starting with our feet hip width apart. Sitting, you can do the same thing, just slide to the edge of your chair, and you're just going to lightly swing your arms from side to side, loosening up your back a little bit. Standing, same thing, and you can actually swing those arms a little further. Take a minute here and check in. Just make sure you're feeling okay today. See if you have any tight spots, any tenderness or soreness that you need to be aware of. And as always, we don't want to have any pain. You want to feel your muscles work, but you shouldn't feel any stabbing or sharp or tingling pains. If that happens, you go ahead and stop what you're doing and reassess. All right, bring everything back to stillness. From here, you're going to do some nice big arm circles, rotating forward. And then backwards. And then you're going to throw your arms in and out across your chest, alternating one on top and then the other. Still being aware, checking in, seeing if there's any issues you need to keep an eye on during your session today. All right, bringing that back to stillness. Warming up our elbows just a little bit. Make some nice big circles going in one direction. Again, checking in with the joints, getting everything moving, make sure you don't have any snap, crackle, and pop going on. If you do, it should pass fairly quickly as you warm up. If not, then again, it's just something to be aware of and make any adaptations you need. Go the other way. And then moving down to your wrists, I'm going to do circles in one direction. And then go the other way. And then squeeze those hands in and out. Again, just checking in, loosening things up. It's important to loosen up your hands before weight training, especially so that you have a good grip, because you don't ever want to drop those weights. All right, from here, moving down to our lower body. If you're sitting in the chair, you're going to just start swishing your knees side to side to loosen up your hips. If you're doing some standing postures, you're going to do some nice big hip circles in one direction. And then the other direction. If you're swishing your knees, just keep going. Speaking of knees, again, if you're seated, you're going to be swinging, just again, loosening everything up. If you're standing, go ahead and start bopping your knees forward and back. And then whether you're seated or standing, if everything's feeling okay in your knees, go ahead and go in circles in one direction. And then circles in the other direction. Beautiful. From there, we're gonna, again, seated or standing, pick one foot up off the floor, spin that ankle in one direction. And then the other direction. And then switch feet, going in one direction. And then the other direction. Beautiful. All right, from there, just one more check-in head to toe, make sure everything's feeling good and you're ready. And then we're gonna get started. Our first exercise today is gonna be a squat with a twist and press. Now, you might wanna go for a moderate weight on this, even though for a squat, you might normally go heavier. With the twist and press added, you're gonna wanna probably lighten it up a little. So I'm gonna go for my medium weight. You can do a full squat with no chair, just dropping it down. You can do a sit to stand, or you can leave the squat off altogether and just do the twist and press. Now, if you're doing the full squat, you're gonna squat, come up, twist and press to one side, and then to the other side. All right, pick your variation. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Sorry, I've missed my timer. And here we go. Beautiful, you got it. Whatever variation you're doing, you wanna make sure that you're doing it with good form. So once you're up, you're gonna be standing up nice and tall, keeping that belly in nice and tight. If you're sitting the whole time, still sit up nice and tall in your chair. Try to reach up through the crown of your head and keep that belly squeezed in as tight as you can. You got it, almost there. And time. Beautiful. All right, from here, this one you might want to go down a little bit for. It's totally up to you. You're going to do what's called a halo. So you can do it, again, seated or standing. For standing, you're going to have your feet hip width apart. You're going to bring the weight up above your head, and you're just going 30 seconds in one direction, dropping it down behind you, and bringing it around. The key here is to keep your torso still. If you're doing the seated version, same thing, keeping it nice and still. We're gonna do 30 seconds in one direction, 30 seconds in the other. So pick your variation. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Lowering it down a little bit behind your head so that you're really working your shoulders and your triceps. If this one is tough for you, this is a good one to start empty hand. You do the same motion with no weight at all, just to work through the range of motion and make sure that you're not going to cause yourself any shoulder injury. Halfway there, switch directions. Remember to keep breathing, nice and slow and steady. Almost there, you got it. And time, beautiful. All right, from here, we're gonna move into a single arm motion. So we're gonna do a left hand curl into an overhead press and then back down. So it's two parts, we're just putting them together. Same thing seated, sitting a little forward, bring your arm down inside between your legs with your knees spread, curl up, turn, press up, come back, and lower. Whichever variation you prefer, we got 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Curl, press. Beautiful. Still standing up nice and tall or sitting up nice and tall. Still squeezing that belly in nice and tight. Still taking nice, slow, even breaths. If you find that as you're doing this exercise, like as you're doing your bicep curl, you got to kind of lean back to heave the weight up, that's an indication that your weight is too heavy. If you find that you're just flying through it and you don't feel it at all, that's an indication that your weight is too light. Might be time to go up a little. Almost there. You got it. And time. Beautiful. All right, shake that arm out. And then we got to go to the other side. So either way, sitting or standing. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Curl and press. Still sitting up nice and tall. Trying to keep your torso still. You want your arm and your shoulder doing the work here. Your core muscles, your abs and your back, their job is to keep you sitting up straight or standing up straight. Beautiful, you got it. When you're pushing up for that overhead press, still keep a little bend in the elbow. You don't want to lock it out, because that's when you're at the greatest risk of injury. So still a little soft bend. Same thing when you're at the bottom of that bicep curl. You don't want to go all the way down. You want to still keep a soft bend. And time. All right, next up, we have a deadlift plus a lateral raise. Now, this is a great one for beginners, again, to do empty hand, whether seated or standing. The standing version, keeping your back nice and flat. You're gonna lean forward, come back up, and then raise your arms out to the side. The seated version, scoot as far as you can to the edge of your chair while still being balanced and secure. And same thing, legs apart or legs together, either way. Reach down and then raise up to the sides. If you're doing it with weights, make sure they're appropriate weights. Those lateral raises can be tough. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Coming up just to shoulder height. You don't want to go too far up. Keeping a nice generous bend in your knees. Beautiful, you got it. Nice and easy. Now, if you find that this is an easy exercise, but you don't have heavier weights, you can do it at a faster pace. Just keep an eye out on your back and make sure that you're not overstraining yourself. And time. Beautiful. All right, our last one is going to be a knee raise. Now for this one, we're just going to do a static hold. The seated version, you're going to keep your weight or your empty hands up by your chest, keeping your arm muscles engaged. And you're just going to pull that knee up and in. The standing version, you're doing a nice high knee march, crunching in a little bit at the top. We have 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. This is a great one for balance because you're shifting your weight side to side. And that's true whether you're seated or standing. And you can make the upper body part of it easier or harder, depending on how far out you hold that weight. The further out you hold it, the more work you're putting on your arms. You got it, beautiful. You bring those knees up to whatever height is comfortable for you. You want to feel some work in your leg muscles, but no pinching in your hips. Almost there, and time. Awesome. First set is done. Grab some water, and then we'll get to the second one. All right, before we start the second set, go ahead and assess. Was anything too hard? Do you need to go down and weight? Was anything too easy? You need to either pick up the pace or go up and weight. Make those adjustments for the second set and then reassess for the third. All right, 1 minute on the clock. We're going back to the squat plus twist and press. So squat, twist and press, just like that. You got it. Here we go. Nice and steady. Keep breathing. If you're leaving off the squat altogether, make sure you pause in the center. So twist and press, come all the way back to center. Make sure you have your balance before you go to the other side. If you're doing it with the squat, that pause is kind of built in while you do the squat. You got this. And time. Perfect. All right, next up we have those halos. Seated or standing, either way, stretching up through the crown of your head, squeezing that belly in nice and tight. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. 30 seconds go in each direction. And kind of dipping back down a little bit behind your neck so you can get a little more tricep engagement. 10 more seconds on this side. Keeping that torso nice and still. And switch. But going the other way. Beautiful. And time. All right, next up, we've got the curl plus overhead press. Again, either seated or standing. Curl it down, press it up. 1 minute on the clock. Let's go. Remembering to keep your joints soft. Don't lock them out. Still sitting up tall. Still squeezing your belly in. Slow and even breaths. You got it. Beautiful. Almost done. And time. Of course, now we got to switch sides. Same exercise, just the other hand. Make sure you give that first arm a shake though. All right, 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Nice. Soft joints, tight belly, sitting up tall or standing up tall. Beautiful, more than halfway there already. And time. All right, up next, we have the deadlift plus the lateral raise. Again, either seated or standing, up to you. The key is that you don't want to round. You want to keep a flat back. So you're bending forward only as far as you can keep your back nice and flat. 1 minute on the clock. Remember to raise it up only to shoulder height. Lower it with control. Nice and steady. No need to be in a rush. We're working on muscle strength right now. And in that case, slower is actually better. Beautiful. That's time. Go ahead and set those to the side and grab your weight for those knee raises. Still 1 minute on the clock, seated or standing. Here we go. Again, just lifting the knee as high as you comfortably can without any pain. Control how hard your upper body is working by either bringing that weight in nice and close, middle range, or all the way out. Keep breathing. You got this. Almost there. And time. Perfect. All right. Set that weight to the side. Grab some water. And then we'll do the third set. All right, bringing it back in. Before we start the third set, check in, see where your exertion level is. Are you able to still talk? Make a full sentence without feeling out of breath? If so, you're good. If you feel like it's getting hard to talk and breathe, maybe need to dial it down just a little bit. If you're not breaking a sweat at all, maybe ramp it up a little. Pick what weights you want to use for the next set, make your adjustments, and let's get started. Back to that squat plus twist and press, 1 minute. Here we go. Keeping the breath slow and steady. Make it your workout. Go at your pace. And whatever variation is best for you. Almost there. Time. Perfect. Next up, we have those halos. Again, sitting or standing, totally up to you. 30 seconds in each direction. 1 minute on the clock, go. If you're hitting a point where it's hard to keep your torso still on this one, set that weight down and do the movement just with like an imaginary ball between your hands. And switch directions, going the other way. Beautiful. This one's actually a great exercise to do kneeling as well. We're doing sitting or standing variations today, but this one's fantastic in a kneel to really add some core work. And time. All right, up next, we have our curl plus our overhead press. We'll grab whatever weight is appropriate for you. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Remember our key points on this one: soft joints, sitting up tall, belly nice and tight. Same thing here. If you find that your torso is starting to sway, you're having a hard time holding yourself upright, drop your weight down or just put the weight down altogether and go empty hand. More than halfway there. Nice and steady. And time. Shake that arm out and switch to the other side. Here we go. Curl and press. Beautiful. Nice and steady. Five more seconds. Time. Beautiful. All right. Next up, we have that deadlift with the lateral raise. Again, grabbing whatever weights are appropriate for you for this exercise. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Remember to keep your back straight. Nice bend in your knees. And only bring those weights up to your shoulder height. time. All right, last one is our knee raise. Seated or standing, or dumbbell in, middle range, or out, up to you. 1 minute, here we go. No matter how high up the knee comes, try to crunch in your belly, add a little ab work in there. Squeeze it in like you're trying to suck your belly button back towards your spine. Keep breathing. Almost there. And time. Perfect. All right, grab some water, and then we're gonna do our final stretch. All right, bringing it back in. For our final stretch, you can again do it either seated or standing, and I'll show both. If you're seated, you're gonna come up to the edge of your chair. If you're standing, just stand up nice and tall. From here, take a deep breath, bring your hands up, and then lean to one side. Come back to center, and lean to the other side. Back to center, and then you're gonna fold forward. Pause here just for a second, and then roll all the way up nice and slow, drawing your shoulders up towards your ears, and then rolling them down and back. We're gonna do that 2 more times, so roll them forward and up, and then down and back, and one more, and back down. Now rolling them the other direction. Up and around, and then forward and down. And again, and last one in this direction. From here, you're gonna take one arm, bring it across your chest, pulling it in nice and tight. And then from here, you're just gonna tip your head down just to whatever gives you a nice little stretch through your neck. Pause here, take a little breath. And then release. And we'll go to the other side. Bringing that arm across your chest. Pull it in, again, just till you feel a good stretch, whatever's appropriate for you. And then if it feels good, tilt your nose down. Add a nice little neck stretch. And release. From here, either seated or standing, you're gonna put one foot out, peel the toes up, and you're gonna reach down towards that foot. If you're standing, you're gonna have to reach a little further, but you can reach down, touch your shin, your toes, the floor, whatever is in your range. Just enough to find a good stretch through the back of your leg, maybe a little bit up into your back as well. And release, come up nice and slow. And then switching sides, put the other foot forward, lift those toes up, reach down again, shin, toes, or floor. And just pause there for a moment. And then release, come up nice and slow. And you are all done. Fantastic job today. I look forward to seeing you next week.